And one final thing for today is that we've already asked the question about Trent Swansong just reminded us what we're going to be missing, and one question is how do we get the ball to Mohamed Salah? So much for next season. You've already let the cat out of the bag, Hamzah, on how we're going to do it. We're going to sign Florian Wirtz. Do you want to give us a bit more skinny on Florian Wirtz and what you like about him as a player, and what you think he could bring to Liverpool and the role? What role do you think is most likely for him?
I'm not entirely sure what role will be most likely for him. I think he is an attacking midfielder. At Leverkusen, it's interesting how he's deployed. Uh, I spoke to a coach, a couple of coaches that worked with him a while ago, and they both referenced how he's given a bit more freedom in the system there. So Xabi Alonso plays with three at the back, but it's in a quite a positional system. But Wirtz is allowed to sort of go where he wants. So he will often combine, double up, or even sort of try and create clusters of three players in one single sort of pocket. And he's the one to benefit from that. So he'll roam over to the left, he'll roam over to the right, combine, make neat combinations, get into the box, get shots away. Um, a few years ago, before his knee injury, which Sai would probably mention, but I don't know how he would. Well, Phil can give the lowdown on how you expect that to influence his minutes over time. But before then, I remember there was a coach that worked with him and gave Jude Bellingham a bit of a jibe, and he said, well, yeah, sorry, he worked with Jude at Dortmund, and he said, Wirtz has been better than you this season, and Jude was very upset, and he sort of he blanked him until their match. And then Wirtz showed him up and was excellent in the match, and Bellingham was really upset, so he blanked him for a further few weeks. But this is the quality of player that we're talking about. Someone who, until his injury, was seen as a better player in Germany, and is still one of the leading German attacking midfielders. I mean, him and Musiala are utterly fantastic. As to where I think he might play, I think he could potentially play as a false nine, someone who drops into midfield, makes those combination, adds attacking value, and gets the wingers to be ahead of him in very sort of narrow positions. That would be something not too dissimilar from what we saw with Firmino. I'd really like that. But as I mentioned earlier, right, that means you've got this really high EPV guy that's high up the field, and the question that Liverpool have at the moment is how do they progress the ball in the first place, uh, in terms of passing? Because Van Dijk's a progressor, and the rest of the back three move the ball forward, but not necessarily through passing, right? Uh, you could have him as a number 10, the most advanced midfield. So either as a classic number 10 who just plays in the central space and pulls where he wants, or in a staggered midfield. And when we think of a staggered midfield, we can think back to how Liverpool played with Oxlade-Chamberlain, right? Very
Yeah.
different player. But you would have one deep midfielder, one number eight that's doing the box to box stuff, and then another guy on the side that maybe would lean closer to Salah, for example, on the right to help with that combination, uh, to have much more attacking responsibility, and join the forward line, essentially making like a 4-2-4 sort of thing, and then you move your fullbacks and whatever. Or you could have as a number eight. The way I think it's going to play out as a moment is I don't think he's going to be the number eight, because of the depth that Liverpool have already. The mention about Szoboszlai playing deeper. Um, and McAllister also being in that rotation, Gravenberch potentially being in that rotation because he likes to play eight, and I think he's voiced that a few times this season. It's like I love to play eight. The boss asked me to play six, so I'm happy to do that, but eight is my position. Likewise, Curtis Jones as well. So there's quite a bit of depth there.
The other
Uh,
role may be the left of a front three with an overlapping fullback, so more of an inside play, in the inside left channel as well. That could be an option as well, Hamza.
yeah, definitely. I that
But
again.
we already do have play. I think it's fair to say we're stacked in that particular area of the pitch, though, aren't we?
Yeah, because Gakpo's best play is as a winger. Diaz does play on the left, can play through the middle. He also has had links elsewhere, so maybe he will join the left side. Um, I'm not so sure about that just at the moment. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think the idea is to have him centrally. Um, but I'm not entirely sure on that. I know a lot of people have discussed that already, but at the moment, I'm not quite sure if that. I see more through the middle, but if you have any thing that you'd like to add on the left side?
Well, I was going to say it's the man who's done already probably done 10 podcasts him already, with on transfer market metrics. But you probably got run stats packs on Florian Wirtz. I mean, they must have been pretty damn
I
good.
have. They were amazing. They were. I mean, I'm not just. That's completely unstatistical, but they were just
All your
amazing.
stats packs are
But
amazing, but yeah.
yeah, but no, no, he's put 1.9 XT for the season. He's got a good balance between progressive passes, progressive carries, and 20 box carries as well, which is nice to have. He's slightly more dominant towards the pass, which is kind of what Trent is as well. If you look at how he moves things out, he has nearly double the. So our midfielders are about 0.11, 0.10 to 0.11. I know there's a buddy tax on there of about 15% you have to take off, though. There's some things to consider. In terms of
That's
Nido,
That's Bundesliga tax for everybody.
sorry,
Who's
yeah,
listening there,
sorry,
bully, not playground bully or something.
Bundesliga tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, in terms of the Nido, it's been over 2 seasons, so it's a bit like Van Dijk took 2 seasons to get back. The only slightly concerning something is he had a little ligament injury in March, which he missed 5 games. But other than that, he seems. I would have suggested he's gone through that the ACL rehab and he's back to where he was. But he did miss 43 days with that. I personally think he's gonna play century. I think the left is another story. Maybe he does play left, but I think he might play false nine for us. But I like the options that he gives us. So if you play in false nine, you can play. We've got 3 midfielders you can play. If you drop him as an AM, you can play Dom and Mac, and you can play with a 9. I
But
think he gives us a lot of fluidity. Yes.
is it on the false nine? Obviously, we're losing Trent, and obviously we always want to try and make sure we're never outnumbered in the centre in the Premier League. And it's one way of getting that
Yeah.
midfield overload is to have the false nine, yeah. So you got the fourth man in the
Yes.
centre from that
Yeah.
rather than
If
from
you
your
look
right back
at
inverting.
Yes. If you look at where he played for Leverkusen, if you look at some of the touch maps, he was on the left 10 side. If you know what I mean, and Dom we know has played the right 10 in a double false, right?
Yeah.
So I think that could work really well in those areas. And then you have particularly that we went to City and we played a 2 false, maybe not by choice, but we ended up with Curtis and Dom playing off the front.
Even when Diaz and Jota have played it, they primarily played it, especially off the ball. It's always been a double 10, and then even in build up, they're not exactly neither Diaz doesn't play it like a 9, and Jota even when at the start of the season when he was in form, he only got periodic progression into the penalty area, so quite low because it was primarily in a deeper role. So maybe that is what Slot wants from his most central player.
And also, as Hamzah said, if you're playing fullbacks that are going to be a bit higher and wider, it means that your left and your right wingers will come in a bit more. So therefore, your 2 drop, your 9 and your 10 or whatever drop in will push your 2 inside forwards to go inside. So I can see it working 100%. And I think there will be games where he plays false 9 and we play more of a stacked physical midfield. That's fine. And there'll be games where he plays a midfield where it's a bit lighter, but I think it gives us good options. My concern is Hamza's point is how are we going to get the ball to him? Because Konate is not a passer, and we all love Konate, want him to sign, but asking him to put a ball into the 10 is not something he's good at. Van Dijk can do it. Kirkes isn't a passer either. He's good on the ball, but he's not a passer. And Frimpong is a bit of both, but he's not as strong as Trent. And Bradley, as you said, is also not a passer.
Yeah.
So you need a line. You need a line deeper to get the ball to the 10 position.
Yeah. The obvious answer is going to be McAllister, isn't it? Really, because the Van Dijk to Granberg was one of the strongest XT combinations in the team, wasn't it?
Sure.
Yeah. I just wanted to say one thing that I looked into because we already mentioned his name is Bobby Firmino, because fortunately there is a stat site called Understat which does go back a long time in terms of its data, and they actually have Bobby Firmino at Hoffenheim in 2014-15 season when he played behind a striker. He played as an attacker. He played as a 10 all season behind a striker, age 22, which is the season he turns to age 22 on January the 1st. This was his age 21 season, right? That season, Firmino got 7 non-penalty goals and 10 assists. Wirtz is 8 non-penalty goals, 12 assists. Firmino 2.9 shots per 90 minutes. Wirtz 3. Key passes per 90 minutes, 2.1 each. Non-penalty expected goals, Bobby 0.28, Wirtz 0.27. And the expected assist per 90 minutes was Bobby 0.28, Wirtz 0.32. I mean, there's a cigarette paper between the performance data of
Yeah,
both players there in the same league, in the same position, 10 years apart.
exactly. And that I think I used something similar. I think I cited you actually on last TMM saying that they profile very, very similarly, which I think is a good omen for us going big on this guy moving over. I think he gives us tactical flexibility, which I think we can all argue we have struggled with whoever's played the 9. I don't think has done it the way Slot has done. Diaz has done well
Yeah.
there. I'm not knocking any of them, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's been
One thing we've
what he
not
wanted.
had from the 2 most advanced central players all season is really good creativity on the ball and technical
Yeah,
control in the half spaces, right? And
yeah. I
and
think
under pressure. So he gives you that in spades, right?
he does, because I think Joshua's 0.8 threat creation, and I think Nunes is 0.05. So
Yeah.
by putting in someone who's 3 times that amount, you
Mm,
almost sort out your problem of the XT difference, right?
mm,
Because you're removing 3 from the back, you're replacing him with a 0.1. I mean, Firmino is about 0.4, I think, 0.14, sorry. So
yeah.
there's a bit to make up. You're changing the left back, but you're adding a lot up front. So providing we can just get the ball into those areas, and we tighten up at the back a little bit, then the XT difference should remain about the same, which would
Yeah.
be a good omen for us going forward.
So we don't have size magic logins for this one because
No,
he's not with us. But I'm sure he would have brought some very complimentary physical data about Florian Wirtz as well. Um, but fortunately, the Bundesliga are very nice with the data they share in public with fans.
they do.
And this season he was 8th total for sprints made, and last season he was 3rd. So it's not like we're buying a luxury player, but who's maybe a bit of a passenger off the ball. He is a worker as well, and so that's the full package.
Yeah, and I think this is something we all watch Leverkusen under Alonso, and they're not. No one there is lazy off the ball. They
No.
all have to do their role and have to do their shift. So you're buying someone who is used to playing in a team first system, right?
Mm,
Yes, he has a bit of a freer on the ball role, but off the ball, they all have their set things to do.
mm.
So I don't have any worries about him coming over as fitting off the ball for us. And physically, as you said, he he's up there with a lot of the guys in the same position. So in terms of sprints and
Yeah.
distance per game, in terms of the rest of it, I think his top speed. I couldn't remember his top speed was, but
It's
that was
33 and a half. So Sai would say it's not rapid, but it's fast enough.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
for where he is.
Mm,
It's fast enough. You're not asking him, because typically if you play as false 9, you're not actually looking to go beyond, are you, to come
no.
off. So that's fine. If you want him to play 9-9, then we want him to be quicker. But he's quick enough to do it. It's one of those signings where I think if we get over the line, I'm quite excited to watch this guy play. To be honest with you,
Yeah, and if he's only just turned 22 as well, so
it's an Edwards
yeah,
playbook signing.
absolutely. Hamzah, final word for you, Florian Wirtz.
He's a plus finisher as well. Over his
Ooh,
career, he's
yes.
finished better. So his XG per shot dipped a bit this season. Career average 0.11, but this season is 0.08. But over the course of his career, he has 7.3 more non-penalty goals than his non-penalty
Mm.
XG. His non-penalty XG plus expected goals assisted. The past 2 seasons has been 0.5 and 0.6. The previous one, then he had the injury season, 0.39, and
Not
the
bad
season
for a
before that,
21-year-old.
yeah, and the season before that, 0.64, which is ridiculous for an 18-year-old uh, with 1,851 minutes. But again,
Mm.
I know Phil mentioned this earlier, but Bundesliga's tax. Anyone that watches the Bundesliga has been to live matches are often quite surprised at how open it is. And if you give players like this a lot of space in open matches, they're just going to get a really good numbers. But given his physical qualities, he takes a handful of shots from further out. And I say that not looking at his shot map, but just from goals that I've seen.
Yeah.
But I'm just having a quick look at his shot map now as well.
No, it's not. It's not bad. Not bad. There's enough. There's enough. You can live with that as a 21-year-old. You can live with that for sure.
Yeah.
Not quite the 6-yard box concentration you'd like, but a decent spread in the central area, and then a large cluster in the left half space in the box towards the around 15 to 18-yard line, and then also further back outside the box. So yeah, he likes a shot from distance, but the average shot quality is pretty decent. But again, a lot of that comes from transitional moments. What then becomes important is how do we create transitions, because that's what Salah likes. That's what Diaz, Gakpo, Nunez, Jota, and Wirtz and Szoboszlai, all these guys like. So how can we use our tactics to create them? And that comes back to baiting the press. Well, it may come back to baiting the press. Also, sitting back, counter-attacking from corners, that sort of stuff. But yeah, what this guy is another of our tactical multi-tools, right? He can do a lot of things. The question is, what do we want him to do for us, and how do we get him to do that? But yeah, very exciting.
And we already know the answer, some of the answers to that, because Arnold Slot has gone and given a very detailed presentation to the player about what exactly his role will be for us and exactly what is expected of him. So let's just say, should we just say, Hamzah and Bartz, that this is another potential signing that has the under pressure stamp of approval?
Yep.
Yeah. The more quality players like him we sign, the better we're going to be next season. It's that
simple. Absolutely. Until then. So that has been your final Under Pressure podcast of the season. Liverpool are the champions. We will be back to do a season review deep dive probably next week. Until then, up the fucking Reds.
Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts and even Liverpool legends along the way, with the great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at AnfieldIndexPro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that, from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.